Dumela, Sawubona, Sakpase, Namaste, Upshin, Dubra Otra, Assalamu alaikum, Hotep. Buenos dias, it's still daytime. Bonjour, greetings everyone. My name is Doriel and as Larrier of Larrier's Education and Resource Network, where I plan to help you grow. This is season 3, episode, let me do this right, episode 12, season 3, episode 12. And we are here to, as we always do, have people who are influential in their community, inspire, impact, and influence people to live their lives a little better than they did yesterday. And so today is none other than that. Today, I'm going to have a little bit of an education conversation. Although, you know, my 3 sort of content foci here is either we speak to elected officials or people in politics. And so we talk about politician and the people, or it is ministers on a mission. And so I know and I'm really excited to engage with people of clergy who are doing their ministry within their community, sometimes locally, state, across the globe, what have you. And there is another real great conversation that I like to have, and that has to do with education. And so that's called A New Class is in Session. That's the topic of today. But A New Class is in Session really has to do with people who think, teach, and learn outside of the box. And so I wanted you to help me welcome Reverend Alfred Phillips, who is our guest for today. Greetings. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you so much for the invitation, and namaste to you as well.
Namaste. Namaste. Excellent. I'm so glad to have you today. I'm very thankful. So the first thing I'm going to do before we get into it, I already see people who are here. We are streaming on Facebook and on YouTube. And so I'm going to try to see where the people are coming from. If you are engaging with us today, thank you very much. So we have Bishop Boyd Singletary. Welcome to the platform. You're on YouTube. Shalom to you as well. Or maybe I should add shalom as well. I think I'll add shalom to my greeting as well. What I'd love for you to do is I need you to do 2 things. Number 1, of course, we'd love for you to like, share, comment, and subscribe if you're on Facebook or on Instagram. Facebook or on YouTube. Please do that so that you can keep keep up to date on the people who are going to be on this show. Number 1. Number 2. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Fountain Bertho Jacinth. I appreciate you. And the second thing is, if you have a question or a comment, please drop it in the chat. I will do the best I can to pull the comments up or the questions up so that it can further engage our conversation. So, Reverend Phillips, I want to, again, welcome you to the show. And I'm going to just give a little bit of feedback. Thank you so much to your assistant, and that is Melissa, Sister Melissa. She and I literally go back decades. Can't tell you how many, but decades. And she said, you know, Doriel, you really need to have my pastor on. He's doing some really great things in the community. And so when I went to dig a little further, I said, oh, okay, this is interesting. I definitely want to hear more about it. So I'm actually going to pass the baton or pass the mic in this situation over to you. And again, all those people who are saying hello and greetings, thank you very much. Let us know where you're hailing from. If you want to drop your zip code or your area code or the ministry that you're from, let's make sure that we get this out to people. So Reverend Phillips, let us know what it is that you do, let's say on the weekend, because you wear multiple hats, and then what do you do during the week? And that's why we're here today.
Sure. Thank you so much, Doriel, for this invite, and certainly to Sister Melissa Gisson-Tanner, and to the First Baptist Church of Sheepshead Bay. We certainly thank God for them. I pastor the First Baptist Church of Sheepshead Bay. I just made a 1-year anniversary. Certainly was a great opportunity to be there to be able to witness to the people there in the community and to the church at large. And certainly they have given me such a warm welcome, and certainly have been very kind to me and my family, and I'm very appreciative. So we thank God for the work of souls is what I like in working at church as a pastor, a leader, is the work of souls and people and their souls, which I believe is the greatest work that we can actually do, because the work of souls is paramount. And I'm very excited to have this assignment to be able to serve in this way.
Excellent. So now that is what you do. And I'll say on the weekend, oh, you have a whole lot of amazing people who are following. I'm excited. I'll greet them in a moment. And then I found out through through the spiritual and religious grapevine that you do some amazing things as well during the week and for you educate and you inspire souls during the weekend, and of course it's a 365-day job, but then you have a little focused niche, if you will, and that's what also connects to my heart and my mission and my career goals as well, so I'd love to hear about that.
Sure. 19 years ago, I found myself pastoring another church, Ebenezer Baptist Church in Brooklyn, New York, and the church went through a metamorphosis, and in doing so, I ended up living at the church. The lights went out in the church, and it really was a very tumultuous situation. And out of that, I had a dream, a vision to help people, and in doing so, me having that dream to help people, I asked God the question, why would I help people when I need help? But in doing so, I obeyed, and the Lord gave me clear instructions to start a school to help lift the burden of stagnation for ministers who were being stagnated in local ministries. So this way, the school started out in that way. I put an ad in the Love Express paper. It was a $20 ad, and because I put that ad in, seven people called, came. We started a class in the daytime. We were able to do the training. I had no idea of how to start a school. It was just something that was spirit led, and was able to start the school. And at this point now, we've morphed and we went into started out as a minister's training course, and then it morphed into a high school diploma program to help others. It started into a high school diploma program, a chaplaincy program, ordinations, consecrations. Then we went into a seminary portion where I galvanized some other leaders and pastors and ministers who came in to help set up the whole school, the seminary, and we have over 10,000 graduates in 19 years and counting. So it's a plethora of things that we offer, but the main things that we offer is the high school diploma program, which we help people that are not able to pass the GED. They now have an opportunity to still move forward in life, go to college, trade schools, the Army, the armed forces. We've had people that go into different civil service jobs as well. So it's a great success because it taps into the community at large and helps those who have maybe given up and had not had an opportunity because they felt that they couldn't pass the GED or move forward with their life. So these are some of the things that we do with the ABG at large.
Thank you very much for sharing that intro. So I did put up the banner, and so if those people who are interested, or maybe you already are aware, and maybe you are part of the congregation, the educational congregation that Brother Phillips has embarked upon, and definitely is successful at. And so here it is, right there at the bottom: educationcentralapp.com, educationcentralapp.com. I'm just going to put that down for a minute because I definitely want to say to greet the people who are here. So let me just pull this up. So we have Sister Sarah Nichols, excellent. We have Sister Patricia from the ministry. We have, okay, so Sister Sarah is saying she attends Destiny Worship Center in Augusta. Sister Monica Pigford, greetings. Hello. Thank you very much. So I just wanted to greet who are definitely here. So I want to actually get into in following this idea, following this mission that was put on your heart. How did you step into the role of providing, or I want to know the back of house. I'm always interested in like the gears that help this work. So when you set out to say, two things. Like, I want to make sure that people who are in ministry sort of grow at the rate that they believe they can, if they're in a ministry that may not support them in that. And then you have like a different market, which is also people who are in the GED track. And so I would love to know who those who went through the GED portion, like where did you get them from? Like, were these young adults who maybe life kind of settled on them in a way and they stepped away from that path? Is it people who may have been, let's say, transitioning from other parts of life or walks of life? Where did you, like, who came to your class?
Well, the church at large, I have a large church community base where I know I've actually ordained hundreds of pastors. So because of that, we tap into that to let them know, is anybody in their congregation. So it really just hits home in local communities, not only in New York, maybe in about 15 states that it actually go. I know pastors all over. So because of it, it kind of fed one thing, really fed another thing. Whereas you know, licensing and ordaining pastors and ministers and ministries, and then those ministries would galvanize or gather people within their local congregation or their ministry group. So it was just really a word of mouth. It's really a word of mouth thing. I view it as we've been doing it for 19 years. I view it as a pilot. It's a long time for a pilot, but we're getting ready to launch something real big with the school. I'm real excited about it. I can't really talk all about it right now, but it's really getting ready to go to another level. And I'm so excited about it. I'm glad that God, you know, allowed me to be a steward in this way for such an assignment. I do a lot of reading and a lot of research. I'm also an author as well. I do a lot of reading and research. So in doing so, I was always pretty sharp. Like when I was like 15, 16, I really didn't like school. So when I was 16, I quit and I went and took the GED and passed it for the first time. And that was it. That, you know, I was finished with that. So it's ironic that I didn't like school, but then I end up being owner of a school, owner operator. But God does things in mysterious ways. And in doing so, I do a lot of research. I was able to find out ways to set up a school and things of that nature. And I've done some workshops and I've done a lot of information that people normally wouldn't know where to find. I was able to find it. And because I was able to find it, I tapped in to things that people don't know to be able to start and launch the schools that I have. Yeah.
Okay. And we have, thank you. So we even have more people. Thank you, Sister Melissa. This is definitely the person who put you on note, put you on note for today. I appreciate you. Um, thank you. So in the work of you supporting ministers to do their ministry, supporting ministers to be about their mission, is the are the ministers that come to you, ha, mm, you have a course of study. I'm thinking, this is what I'm thinking. Like, there's a foundational probably course of study, but because ministers are at different stages of their work, stages of their ministry, how do you then individualize the curriculum in order to meet their needs?
Sure. So there is a 12-week course that we would do for the minister's course, but then I also end up mentoring most of the individuals on a one-on-one because, of course, people need that um, mentor, that one-on-one development. And it's ongoing. I deal with a lot of leaders and pastors currently all across the country. But so for instance, if they took the ministers, if someone takes a minister's course for 12 weeks, there is some time whereas they'll have to be ministers that would have to do trial sermons, how to perform weddings and funerals, mock weddings we would do. Really, that would come from word of mouth. Then the community. When I first started the school, I did have a lot of turbulence with other pastors because they thought that I was trying to get their ministers, which, ABG Ministries is not a church, it's a school. So I think once they kind of understood that, they kind of backed up. I've even had pastors call me and say, even today, call me and they would ask me to train their ministers or work with their ministers and then ordain. I was just at a ceremony on Saturday in the Bronx. So it's an ongoing thing where we're still helping lift the burden. I view it as lifting the burden of stagnation, because in some churches, some pastors might not want to license or ordain ministers. Me, I view it a little bit more openly, because if they're saying that they're called by God, some people have different motives, and I get that. But a lot of people, I've even, like I said, even had pastors that would end up sending their ministers, coming to ordination ceremonies, participating with licensing of their ministers. They had no problem with it, because then they seen that they wanted to really do it and be about their Father's business in that way. So it's a really interesting concept, the way everything is set up.
So I'm thankful to hear this in real time, because now it sort of directs me to I guess a different line of questioning. So how is this in line? How is the ministry training in line with traditional seminary work? Would this be the thing before? Do you consider this training in lieu of? How do people see, serving with you or serving under you or serving through you, serving with you? I think all those things really work in line of working with, let's say, seminaries here in New York, let's say NYTS or maybe Drew or Union. How does that work?
So, I mean, I think that it would be a good starting point for people. Some of those schools or seminaries may or may not ordain, because some seminaries actually do in the South. They will ordain people that are coming in as ministers. So I think our role is a little bit different. Maybe it could serve as a prerequisite to one going into the seminary, because whereas it's a 12-week course, maybe like 16 weeks, because we do additional things within the 12 weeks session, where we might stretch it out a little bit. So I think that that's one way that it would be it's a good idea for people to do it, because it gives them a preview. Me, I'm more a little bit different. Our school is a little bit more different in the way that it really breaks through some barriers or walls that I'm not a traditional, I'm innovative in the way that I believe that there's a different directive that God gave me and a different charge. So mine's is more of a flow in real time to help elevate people. And a lot of them are very successful. I have current pastors, even in New York, that are successful, that started with ABG Ministries and are doing an excellent job in their prospective houses. So I think ours is more of a real time, hands-on approach, as opposed to a seminary where it's traditional, where it may be 4 years or 6 years or 3 years or 2 years, where they're doing a lot of classroom study. Ours is more hit the street, go do the outreach in real time. Let's do this. So it kind of breaks barriers in that way.
And when people want to come, do they need to be a part of a particular discipline or a particular denomination in order to learn, to grow, to get this work, in order to then go back, of course, into their sphere in order to serve?
No, it's non-denominational. I mean, there's one Lord, one faith, one baptism. I'm not. Again, it's real time. It is Christian based. It is Christian. That's the platform, but we it's more of a real in real time. It's not denominational, it's non-denominational. As long as they want to preach Jesus and him crucified, those are the prerequisites that are applicable.
Okay. And so now so if there are questions, of the people who are watching, please definitely ask the questions or drop the questions in the chat. If there are comments, or it looks like there are people who are definitely from your community. So if you want to shout out a little testimonial, that's perfectly fine. I'll put it up in the chat and we can have everyone see it. So not last question, but a different level. When the students who are coming through, and I'm going to go back to the GED segment of your community. So those people who are coming through and sitting for the GED, do you, how I ask this question? In essence, like you contacted the region, like, the state of New York, and you said, listen, I'm going to be a service provider. I'm going to, execute and participate in the adult-based education training, and then have the people sit for the GED exam. And then, you're getting that paperwork to the state, and then you're satisfying as an educator, you're satisfying as, in my mind, like as an educational trainer or service provider to whoever it is. I want to say these young people, but we're all young in mind. Are there people who come through the GED portion of the work and then turn around and say, this could be an alternative? Because now it's in my mind that you said that you were a young person, and at the age of 16 or so, you were like, listen, I'm out. Like whatever that was happening for you, like, I'm out, this is not working. And then how do you use that experience to then tap into people who may have had similar experiences? Because I'm definitely sure if that was part of my journey, I would more align myself with someone, because then the frustration, the pain, the probably many layered experiences and journeys that I was going through at the time. And so of course you can relate. So again, how is it that you were able to use your experience to then bring in, keep in, and then move forward these I'll say young people, because we're all young in mind, these men and women who wanted to, go through and complete that work?
So to interject, it's not a GED. We actually offer a high school diploma. So the way we have it set up, we're a non-public school registered with the Department of Education. So we're in New Jersey, we're out of Maryland, and we have a couple of other states that we have on hold. So like I said, we're non-public. So they actually get a high school diploma, not a GED. And it's for the regions for New York. What I did is I partnered with, we partnered with a non-public K-12 in New York as well. That also, in New York, they used to give the local diplomas. They don't do local diplomas anymore. Now they only do regions. So the students do have to pass the regions exam, and they have to have all their credits in. The students that we get mostly are adults. They're like 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years old. So they're really the adult population. So, and then when they receive a high school diploma from us, whether it's the New York Regions or from New Jersey or what have you, they're able to go into what they call adult programs in college. Because they're over 25, they open the doors is open a little bit different. So it kind of really does work real well with a program like ours, because they look at them as lifetime credit. They have their high school diploma, even though they're 28 years old, 32 years old, they're coming back to college. So this population is a different population. Our goal is to be the secondary, the alternative to a GED. So we want to be an alternative to the GED nationwide. That's the goal. So we're working real hard on that to make that a reality. Again, we've had much success with people going into community colleges, different colleges, trade schools. So we get verifications all day, every day from other institutions, jobs, the armed forces, for people to be able to go into those areas. So they would do a verification with us. The way it works is the agency will call the school to see if the student is in fact a graduate, and then they can look on the state website to see that we are in fact a school. So that's how that works.
Okay, all right. I think now I have a little bit more clarity. Thank you very much. So you started, let's say, in New York, but you spread out to, you said, like Jersey and Maryland, and you're trying to sort of spread your wings and your reach, right, across many states.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So does that mean
Yes.
that this is all virtual, or do you have like mini satellite sites set up in different communities or different states where you have, point people who lead this work as well?
Sure. I have 19 locations that we partnered with on a regular basis. That these are churches that offer classes. We do sessions, and then we do other sessions on call. So whereas an agency might call, or a church might say we have 11 people in our church that need to get their high school diploma, they always refer to it as GED. So kind of the same in a sense. Um, and then we would set up a 7 or 12 week training session. We would go in, one or two of the teachers or instructors would go in, teach, prepare them, then they'll do their final exam, it's proctored, and then bam. So there is another way that they can do it. They can do it online as well on the app. I'm sorry, on the website, and they're able to what they would do is called test out, which is we use a California Achievement Exam, which is a state wide exam that is accepted in many states. We're also doing some more things to add on to that to really build it up, where it will strengthen it. And whereas agencies and other places would look at it and say, okay, well, this check for this check for that, and so on and so forth, to just build it up some more. But we have, like I said, I'm sharing some of what we're doing that's getting ready to be launched real soon. So yes.
Thank you very much. This is so you're literally taking my theme, which I love my theme, a new class in session, to heart, in that you're thinking, you're having people learn, and you're teaching outside of the box. How many ministers, I would say, across the country, and there are a number who definitely look at the sheep that they are shepherding, and they see the needs and they see the gaps, if that there may be, and they say, okay, what is the need? And then of course they are listening from God, and they're like, okay, well, what can I do? How can I? God gives you that message, and from my understanding, you didn't necessarily know how to do, but you had the heart to do it, and you went forth. And that is beautiful, because if you're ministering to a community that, let's say, mm, that has a need for healing, a physical healing, of course you make connections and you refer them where? To a medical facility, right? And we talk about this all the time. If your membership or people in your membership have, let's say, emotional wellness needs, then you refer them to counselors. And so for you, you've seen that people who or that you see, and realistically, you're not just, you are the client as well as you are the teacher, right? So you've taken your own salve for uh, gaps, that, or let's say tiny wounds of non-completion of academic priorities and foundations, and then you've said, hey, I did it for myself, I'm actually going to offer it to other people as well. And that's definitely a blessing, definitely a blessing. And so I know that there are other ministers who, let's say, they see people in their communities that have a food need, or there's a food desert. And so what do? They set up a food pantry. Here you set up an educational institution that not only feeds the mind, but it also feeds the soul. You can use that. I just thought about that. And that's beautiful. I definitely want to.
Oh, that's good. That's really,
This is my pulpit right here.
really good.
So I want you to bring up a couple of comments. So this is Bishop Boyd Singletary. All praises to Dr. Alfred Phillips. You're doing excellent work, and have been a blessing in my life for 17 years. Okay, fabulous. Thank you for that. Someone from ABG Ministries says amen. Sister Monica Pigford, amen. Excellent. This is Sister Sarah Nichols doing an awesome work for the Lord. I went through the chaplain program. Awesome. Keep moving forward. Grateful. Thank you so much. We have another amen from ABT Ministries. Sister Melissa, awesome man of God, always doing God's work. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. So I just want to give one final moment. So if people, I guess two things. If you do you either have the list of the places that people, oh, that you've done this work, or you have these satellites, or can you sort of rattle them off on your head, or do you know some of them? Because if people are not necessarily, let's say in New York where you are, but they want to connect, and that's number one. Number two, if they also want to maybe partner with you in order to grow your reach, or they have a church that needs this work so that you can expand your ministries. Where are you currently? So people don't necessarily have to recreate, the work. They could just sort of like cross over the road or the highway. So where are some places that you are? And then, of course, how can people connect so that they could help you build this work?
Sure, they can. I'm going. The website is going to be updated on educationcentralapp.com, but we do have in New York, we have pretty much every borough covered with different churches that we work with, and then we do have, Virginia, Georgia, New Jersey, Charlotte, North Carolina, California, Maryland, Massachusetts. So we have quite a few states that we have churches that partner with us to offer satellite. I just want to add also, before we go, we also do what we call as honorary doctoral degrees. And through that, it's been a supernatural blessing. We've been able to confer an honorary doctorate to Pastor Shirley Caesar, Vicki Winans, Ricky Dillard, Bishop Albert Jameson, the late Bishop Timothy Wright, not only in the church world, but also Congressman Charlie Rangel, Mayor Adams when he was borough president, Commissioner Raymond Kelly, also the Commissioner of Nassau County. We was with him last year through Bishop Mackey. So there's, and then also even some artists as well, some other artists. So it's just really been a great opportunity to be able to take something with a $20 a dream. I would have never thought none of this. So I'm just excited to be a steward. I don't own any of it. It all belongs to God, and it's a charge I keep and I have, and a God to glorify. And that's really the gist of what ABG is. It's outside of the box. It's not the norm, but it's God.
Thank you so much. So I was only able to type in a couple of the names, a couple of the states that you have. So if other people know of these other states, I just was able to type in Virginia, Georgia, California, and North Carolina. I couldn't type that quickly, but that your work
Sure,
is in.
Massachusetts,
I'm gonna write it down.
Maryland,
Mm-hmm.
Virginia. Did I say Virginia?
Yes. I'm just typing it in again. GACANC. Who else? You have Massachusetts, Maryland, Virginia, Georgia, California, North Carolina.
New York, and New Jersey, right? And the website will be updated with some of the states. But again, if some other pastors or ministers that would like to launch a satellite, you can certainly get in contact with us.
Excellent. And so, and this is, I'm totally being like transparent. I did not know that people or institutions could confer honorary doctorate degrees. I didn't know how that happened. How does that, how does that happen? Like what do you get? Like, where do you get permission from to do that? Like, tell me how that happens.
It's a statute in the United States Code. I forget what the statute is, but it is an honorary doctorate is really the value of the individual because it's their lifetime achievement. So it's really what they've done I just use maybe Charlie Rango, a congressman, as an example because of his works, or Pastor Shirley Caesar because of her works. So because of her works, the value of her work um, is transcribed into an honorary doctoral degree.
Got it. Got it. I guess the only time I've heard of people being conferred of those degrees, they were conferred from uh, from for realistically, let's say like a university. So that's
Yes.
just the only time that I've heard it. So I'm glad to, and I personally am going to look that statute up because I did not know that was that people outside of a university do that. So thank you for sharing that. So of course, many of us and most of us here are probably from a church background or have connection to church background. So many of the people that you mentioned, or if let's say you're a New Yorker, then of course you would recognize Charlie Rangel, Mayor Adams, who's well, now he's Mayor Adams, Shirley Caesar. You know, we know these names, and we know, of course, we definitely know their lifetime work, and so they are worthy of that honor and that prestige and that accolade. And so, you know, I'm sure there are people who are here who are listening, whether it's live on the replay, and who never know. They may be at that point in their life where they receive, coming up through the work, that honorary doctorate as well. And so I want to thank you very much for coming on, for sitting with us. Definitely, please, you definitely have the last word, sir.
Sure. No, thank you so much for this opportunity. It's always a joy to be able to express more about what the Lord is doing in different people's individual lives. And certainly thank you for this platform. It is a great vision that you have. And certainly we honor you and thank God for this divine connection. And certainly I will be moving forward, and certainly glad to be here. And certainly we'll be exploring opportunities how we can help grow one another. And certainly that is our plight. Thank you so much again. And all that came on. Thank you, everybody.
I appreciate you. So, to the people who are probably joining us for the first time here on YouTube and some on Facebook, I would love for you to be able to just like, comment, and subscribe and share the work, of course. And if there are other people of note, and it doesn't have to be just here in New York, although I am a Brooklyn straight up all the way, all day. But I've, you know, on this channel, if you sort of scroll through, you'll see people who are literally from across the world, and also local communities who have sat here and engaged in conversations that could be discourse. It could be a little bit of debate. It could be some discussion, or it could even be some diatribe. And that's all welcome here on this show. And so I look forward to seeing you again. Usually these conversations occur on Monday nights, but in order to make sure both of our connections here align well, we did it in the middle of the day. Thank you, Sister Melissa. I love you as well. And if you have someone else that you'd like to have here share their work and their worth to their community, please let me know, and I'll be happy to engage and to help expand everyone's territory, which is the prayer of the church, right? To expand your
Absolutely.
territory. So, peace and blessings. This is a Learn to Grow You moment where I plant seeds to help you grow. My name is Doriel Larrier, and I thank you all. And please stay tuned because there's actually going to be another really interesting conversation later in the week, but you will only know what that is. Let me give you a hint. It has something to do with what's going on in the news. That's the only thing I can say. You just got to come back for it. So, peace and blessings.
Right.
I'll see you all on the next go round. All right. All right. Have a good day, everyone.